the headlines on the paper today. Who are they trying to fool? The policemen and the sheriffs think they're getting away, 'cause they make the rules. You're not gonna pull over my eyes. You're not gonna pull over my eyes. Lifting the veil.
Philosophical question first. Your thoughts that you have and you expressed, are they your own thoughts, do you think?
Just in general?
Yeah.
My philosophical thoughts.
Are they your own thoughts?
It's good. Some of them probably are. A lot of them, you get off other people. I mean, fine recently, like, because I just finished uni, right? So since, like, a lot of people that I've been spending a lot of time with have left the city, they've gone, moved all over the place, starting to kind of trying to separate things that you have just kind of fallen into because of the people you're around and things that your own kind of ideas, and this kind of, you definitely get influenced by things that are around you, like whether it's books you've read or people you're talking to, or just even like just the environment, kind of adverts and the things you overhear people saying. It all.
Yeah. What about the media? Do you think they influence your thoughts?
Yeah. Even the thing is, even if you try to not let the media influence your thoughts, it does, right?
Yeah.
Because if you read something, you might read it and you might be like, oh yeah, of course, that's absolutely true. Or you look at it and you think, that's nonsense. I'm going to think the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's always that kind of.
Do you think you have any original thought then? It's not conditioned by any influences.
I just think that's a really hard question to answer. I think it's hard to know whether any of what you're doing is original.
Yeah, that's a pretty honest answer.
You know what I mean? It's difficult to separate those things out.
Yeah. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how open are you to listening to something which probably would go completely against what you already believe?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
How open are you to listening to something which goes completely against what you already believe?
How open am I to listening to it?
Listening and considering.
I'd say like a 6. Like I try, but I could be better. Sometimes you do just.
Oh, that's another honest answer. That's
react
really
emotionally
honest
to things.
I think we all could be better, couldn't we? At that? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you think you've been told the truth about the world in which you live in?
Nah,
no.
I don't think so. I mean, not to be like a sort of jet fuel can't melt steel beams kind of guy, but I mean, I don't know actually. I don't know. Because sometimes I think that. Sometimes I look at like what's happening in politics or whatever and think this is so like the way everything's being explained and the way that these like people in the government seem to be like acting and explaining seems so kind of like arbitrary. That sometimes I wonder like is there just something that they're doing that they just can't justify or explain based on the way that they understand that the public understands the world? You know what I mean? Like, either that or they're just completely incompetent. They don't know what they're doing, and they're just fudging it as they go along. It's hard to know. Yeah.
Do you trust your government? No.
Not particularly. No.
Do you vote?
Yeah.
Right. So you must have some trust in some politicians then if you're voting for them.
A certain amount, yeah. But I mean, it's not necessarily politicians as much as government. I think once you're in government, there's a lot of things that you've got to do in theory that I think things become a lot harder when you're in government and you have to deal with like all these different angles that are coming at you.
And do you think politicians are open to corruption?
I mean, I guess some of them are, yeah.
I suppose if you're handed a lot of money, you know.
It'd be easy to, yeah.
I don't know if you know, there's a thing called insider trading, which is illegal, but banks approach up and coming politicians, and they tell them about some shares that are going to go through the roof the next day. So they tell them to invest in that, and they'll become a millionaire overnight. So they do that, and then unfortunately the politician is in the banker's pocket then.
Then the politician, is invested in. So, right.
It's actually illegal, but it's very common, and I just feel that some politicians sell their soul.
Yeah.
And then they can't be trusted. You know, we still vote for these people. You know. But we get onto my main subject now, which is quite controversial. It's probably one of the biggest things on the internet.
Yeah.
And most people think it's crazy when they first hear it. If I'm being honest, I did as well. So I went out to try to prove it was crazy. Ended up seeing that it was me that was crazy, because all I had was beliefs. I had no actual primary knowledge, and I wasn't informed on the subject. So I'm going to ask you, what shape do you think the Earth is?
A sphere.
A sphere?
Yeah. And
I'd ask you an honest question by asking, why do you think it's a sphere?
Because I've been told it's a sphere, and the explanations that have been given seem fairly
Make logical sense to you.
Yeah, you know, the eclipse, for instance. The images from space, that kind of thing.
Would it be fair to say, apart from the images from space, would it be fair to say that all the knowledge you have about space is secondary information, which you've adopted as being true? So therefore, it would be a belief, wouldn't it?
I'd say so. Yeah.
I mean, I had to admit to myself, all I knew about all of that was a belief, because it was secondary information.
Yeah.
Now, the images you mentioned about Earth, what have I told you that all those images are not photographs?
Really? I mean, I kind of wouldn't believe you, to be honest.
And why would you? I don't know. But if I reference you to something where you can go and have a look, you know the blue marble shots that NASA produce each year of the Earth?
Oh yeah.
Well, the guy who produces those is called Robert Simon. Now, Robert Simon is on a radio interview, which you can see on here on YouTube, and he states they're not photographs, they're Photoshop, because they have to be.
Yeah.
And he's saying they have to be Photoshop because they don't have photographs.
Right.
So we have no photographic evidence that the Earth is a sphere. And anything else?
No photographic evidence. No. None of the photos that have ever been produced by NASA.
Well, if you look at NASA's website, it says images. It doesn't say photographs.
Okay.
Because they would be sued if they did call them photographs. And if you look at the moon landings and spacewalks, nobody has a camera and does a 360, a full circle. Right. Now, if you climb one of the high mountains of Scotland, when you get to the top, that's one of the first things you do. Look at that wonderful view. I'll do a 360. Now, you go to the moon, you can't be bothered doing a 360. Or you're on a spacewalk, you don't bother doing a 360. So there's no evidence of a 360. And there's also no evidence of the Earth spinning 24/7 from space. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
No. Now, with all the supposed satellites up there in the space station, surely we could have a satellite trained on the Earth, so you could, if not just for the weather itself, trained on the Earth, revolving. And when you do see some, it's obviously CGI. It's not real. And then you don't see any stars in the background, and you don't see any rapid cloud formations going in different directions. So all that is not real video. And I'd actually give you £1,000 now if you could find real video evidence of a rocket in space or a satellite in space, because they don't have that. Right. I don't know if you see rockets when they take off. The trajectory is like a curve.
Is it?
Yeah. You just go on YouTube and you'll see them.
Okay.
But a lot of people say, "Oh, that's the angle of attack. They need to go into space." But however, many people believe it's because down in the ocean. But the next time you see the rocket, it's in space. But it's an obvious CGI, a cartoon. Now, why do we not have a camera on that rocket showing us the whole journey up to the International Space Station? It doesn't exist.
There's what about that guy Felix Baumgartner?
Yes.
That like jumped from, I can't remember where from, but it was like outside the very edges of the atmosphere.
Earth orbit,
right?
just outside Earth orbit.
That's, I guess, the most convincing and consistent footage I've ever seen of anything that far away from the Earth.
If you notice, there's a huge curve. It's like he's
exactly.
way far away from Earth.
And you can see the separation of the layers of the atmosphere as well. It's amazing.
You can. But did you see the footage from inside the capsule?
Into the capsule?
Yeah,
no.
There was a camera inside the capsule. Right. And it didn't show you very long. It was about a 10-second clip, completely flat horizon.
Yeah.
Contradicting what was on his helmet.
But you could also account for that in differences in type of lenses being used.
Yeah, well there's different lenses. NASA used a fisheye lens, which you get on GoPros.
Which will make it curved, you're saying, right.
But this was showing you a complete flat horizon from inside the...
How much of the horizon could you see?
True, you couldn't see any more than the width of the door of the capsule. But I belong to a group that we tried to send amateur balloons up, but you can go on YouTube and watch amateur balloons at 21 miles high, completely flat horizon, 360 all the way around. Now,
360 all the way around, and flat. I mean,
completely flat. Have you ever seen a curvature yourself?
Have I ever what?
Have you ever seen a curvature of the Earth yourself? No. Have you ever felt the spin of the Earth? So we're supposed to be spinning faster than a speeding bullet, 1,000 miles an hour. And the curvature, if you're on the beach, the horizon's level. If you go on top of a mountain, the horizon's level. If you fly in an airplane, the horizon's level. Now, if we were on a ball and we really went high, that ball should go below our feet, not stay at a level of the horizon. If you're on a ball, and that fell beneath your feet.
Yeah, but you'd have to be a really, really long way away from it.
Well, not really. That's what I used to think. But the Earth is only 25,000 miles circumference, and that's at the equator, the widest point. So it's not that big.
I think if you were directly above, actually no.
Surely that ball should fall below you eventually.
Eventually, but you'd have to be very far away from it.
But 21 miles. The slope's 8 inches per mile squared. So we should see evidence of the curvature somewhere. I can see lighthouses 20 miles away, which I shouldn't be able to see at all.
Yeah. But what about, when you see something appear on the horizon, like a ship, you see the mass first, right? You see there's some curvature going on. Maybe you can't see it horizontally, but vertically it definitely dips away.
Right. Have you seen that for your own eyes?
I've seen that myself, yeah.
Now, I think the whole thing about this is being able to prove it, and I think you can prove the shape of the Earth through natural observations, scientific observations. Now, you can see loads of this on YouTube, but I've done it myself. I've taken a friend to the beach. We're South Queensferry, or a bit further in, near Cramond, and we're looking out and you see a lot of tankers out in the horizon. You think it's going over. My friend says, look, it's going over the horizon. So I give her this zoom camera, and I've got a telescope as well. I said, zoom in on that boat.
It doesn't really.
Sorry?
And you said it doesn't really dip.
No, because you see the whole of that boat again, and you see the bottom of the ship. Now, at that point anyway, it's proving it's not going over the curvature. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the boat, would you? I mean, you couldn't bring it back over a curve. So it's just going out of your line of perspective. So all parallel lines come to a point in the horizon and become so small you can't see it. So we can only see about 12 miles out to sea.
Yeah.
So if a boat's away in the horizon, and our vision is not powerful enough to see beyond that, so we think it's going over the curvature, but it's not. I've also got video evidence of the sun when people zoom in the sun with these new powerful lenses from a P900, and then you see beneath the sea and the sun. The sun actually goes up when you zoom in, so it's not actually going down any curvature.
The sun goes up as you zoom in?
Yep. because it's nowhere near the sea, but because of perspective and parallel lines, you think it's going down over the horizon. When you zoom in, you see a lot of space between the sea and the sun again.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know enough about how lenses work.
Well, it's just a zoom lens. It brings you closer.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were closer, obviously the sun would come back up again because you're closer to it.
Aye.
In the same way that if you were further around, you were on an island like 20 miles closer to where the sun was setting, it would still be up.
Yeah, but at that point on the beach, people agree it's going down. The sun's going down. It's setting beyond the horizon. But it's not. It's just setting beyond your perspective. It's just going further away. And the sun's not that big. It's a lot smaller and a lot closer to us. So it's revolving round a flat plane. Now you can see evidence of this on YouTube.
It's revolving around a flat plane.
Yeah.
Horizontally.
In a circle.
In a circle around what?
It's shining down more like a torch beam rather than an illuminating ball.
What are you saying that we're on looking at the sun then?
Well, they tell us, we're told in a school that 70% of Earth is covered by water.
Yeah.
Now water is level.
Yeah.
So how can that be on a ball? We can't be on a ball if 70% of it is flat water.
But I think they're saying that it's not completely flat, aren't they? Because it's held all around the surface by the water.
Yeah. You've got terrain going up and down,
and that as well.
But the base, lowest point, is level, and it contains 70% of water. And that would be impossible if we were on a ball, would it not?
No, of course it would be possible.
No, but why? It wouldn't be flat on the ball, would it?
What, the water wouldn't be flat on the ball? Well, I mean, it would be. Of course, it wouldn't be flat. It would be slightly curved. In that case.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't mean to be controversial, but that's all what I used to believe. So I would ask you: have you ever seen curved water? Can water bend? Can water bend round a ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
yeah, I can.
Have you seen it? Have you seen that?
I have. Yeah. If you think about, for instance. Oh, actually, is that true?
I can understand if you think about flowing water.
Yeah, dropping water onto a ball.
Yes. Yeah, it can flow round down it. But can it consistently flow around the side of a ball? I mean, nowhere in nature does water behave that way.
No, probably not. But the thing is, we only understand nature on the scale that we understand it. You know. But
if we're being honest, because I had to be honest with myself, well, then it's a belief then.
Yeah, of course.
But we can't evidence that now. Now, to me, science.
Although people have evidenced, gravity.
Have they?
Well, there you go. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, gravity's never been proven. It's still a theory. That's why it's called the theory of gravity. Now,
it's not been disproven either.
Sorry?
It's not been disproven either.
True, it's not been disproven.
And that's how science works.
Yeah, it's a bit like me trying to disprove the Loch Ness Monster, but there's no evidence it exists.
Yeah,
so, I suppose we could say the same with God as well. You can, I can't disprove him, but then does that mean to say he's real because I can't disprove him? But if we're going to believe science should be demonstrable, repeatable, and measurable. Now they can't produce a working model of a ball with water on it.
But that's consistent with the overall theory.
But why could they not produce that? Because science should be demonstrable. Otherwise it's a belief, is it not, rather than scientific evidence that we're accepting it on. We're accepting it on a belief, secondary information, which we can't evidence. So surely it should be open to being challenged for that.
Yeah, of course.
Science should be open to being challenged.
Yeah,
I'm into natural science, natural observations, and things you can testify for yourself. And they can't prove the existence of gravity. They can't prove the existence that we're on a ball. And there's no evidence that we're on a ball. But you were told about 5 years old, as I was, you live in this magical spinning ball. Now you probably had some questions, and they went back at you with gravity, which you accepted without question. Because we all do. Now, as an adult with critical independent thinking, I'm asking you, does that make sense that we live on a magical spinning ball with water flowing around it without any evidence?
Yeah, it doesn't actually. It makes sense.
Why does that make sense to you?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's either true or the best guess that people have got as to why things, fall to the ground, why the sun sets, why stars kind of rotate, that kind of thing. It's either true or it's, like I say, a best guess, or it's just a really, really elaborate lie, because in that case, everything that we know about physics which is dependent on that is all potentially false as well, right?
Well, it's all built up and based on gravity, which has never been proven. Now, I don't know
whether it's all built up and based upon gravity, or whether gravity is an extension of a network of interrelated theories. I don't think it's necessarily one big assumption like God or the Big Bang that everything else is based on.
True, but the heliocentric model relies on gravity being true for the heliocentric model to exist, and it's never been proven. When you said gravity, now, if I drop this camera, I'll be told that's due to gravity.
Yeah.
There's a force pulling it down.
Yeah.
Now I ask people, and I learn people, so can you show me the correlation between that camera falling and a force pulling it down? Can you prove that that's happening? And nobody can. Now, before the theory of gravity came into existence, density explained why things fall, because the molecules of the camera are heavier than the atmosphere, so it drops. A helium balloon is lighter than the molecules of air, so it rises. Now, we had that long before the theory of gravity ever came into existence.
Yeah.
So there's no proof that this camera would be pulled down rather than just dropping down.
That's true.
Now, what I'm saying to you, considering what I said earlier about open-minded and that, do you think there's any possibility whatsoever that what you've believed all your life may not be true?
With regards to the shape of the planet and gravity?
Yeah.
There's of course a possibility. I mean, partly because I've just not read enough. I'm not a physicist of any shape or form. So
yeah, well, I find your answers very honest, and I'm not expecting you to agree with me, but I think we have to have a wee back door open for whatever we believe. Otherwise, I think that's how people get brainwashed, because they have no back door open to a little bit of doubt that I might be following something that's not true.
They've got to have that down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think.
And my doubts grew 3 years ago when I started looking into this subject, and as I said earlier, I did find it crazy, so I went in to prove we did live in a ball.
Yeah.
But the more I read, the more evidence I've seen, the more videos I watched, I just thought, gee, all I've got is a belief. I've just believed everything I've been told.
Yeah.
There's no evidence, there's no photographs of Earth, there's no evidence of a rocket in space, there's no evidence of a satellite in space. In fact, I don't think we've ever been to space, and I don't think there's any distant planets. We're told there's light years ahead. I can lose their mobile signal here to the other side of the city. Yeah, they've got signals light years ahead to other planets, and we just buy that and believe it without any evidence, don't we? We have no evidence, so we trust NASA. Now, NASA are getting billions a year. Now, if I'm right, they're just presenting us with cartoons, images every year. They're stealing all that money from the taxpayers to present us with cartoons.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite criminal when you think that money could be used for better places. I'll show you a video I've got there about astronauts on the space station with harnesses on the back as they're supposedly flying through. They've all got harnesses on. And you know Tim Peake, who went up to space?
Oh yeah. The International Space Station guy, yeah.
Cough, yes. Now, we've seen a picture of him in a supposed rocket sitting there with a window.
Yeah.
The next time you see him, he's on the space station going, ta-da, here I am. There's no evidence that he went through space. Why do we not see that journey? People don't use the critical thinking and asking for evidence. They just believe, oh yeah, he went up to space. Well, show us the evidence. And
maybe next time they do that, we should get them to video the whole thing.
Yeah, it's never been done though.
No.
And they never can do, because it doesn't exist. So you're never going to see it. And you've got President George Bush Sr., He's in a wheelchair being wheeled around the space.
Yeah.
Not the space station, but wherever the rockets take off from America. I can't remember what you call it. So he's been wheeled around inside, and he passes a green screen, which you're not supposed to see.
Yeah.
And who's standing in front of the green screen, juggling stuff? Tim Peake. He's supposed to be on the Interspace Station.
Okay.
So he's in front of a green screen.
Right, I'll have to see this as well.
Yeah, there's nothing in his hands, and he's supposedly juggling, so he can insert something when he's up, supposedly up there. All this evidence you can see on YouTube, flying around with harnesses and stuff. It's it's a joke. They're flying around with gorilla suits and guitars. You look at a submarine when everybody's got a job to do, and they're diligent, and they're monitoring everything. They're flying through space at 70,000 miles an hour. Anything could hit them. But, mucking around in their polo shirts, chasing each other in gorilla suits. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between questioning the motives and the honesty of a institution of a government that I'm already highly skeptical of, as in the American government. I think the difference between that and radically doubting the entire basis of physics, if that's what you're saying that gravity in the heliocentric model is, and which it seems like that's what you're doing is using one to kind of point to the other, which I think is maybe it's not wrong, but I think it has potential to be misleading or to allow for a few logical jumps, perhaps. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I don't know enough about physics to maybe point those out.
But you understand the physics of water, though. You can see it.
I mean, I understand the physics of water based on what I've seen on the surface of a planet. I've never seen it behave in space.
No, but then see that's your natural observations, which we should be trusting. Now you say you've never seen it in space. Nobody has, and I don't think space exists. But you can watch the natural behaviour of water for yourself, and you know that water always finds its own level eventually. It comes to its lowest point and it will find its own level.
I mean, it doesn't though, does it?
It doesn't.
Have you seen how the sea behaves?
Beg your pardon?
Have you seen how the sea behaves? It doesn't stay on a level, does it?
Yeah, fair enough, but it's not like a river flowing, is it? It's not like it's not running away because it's level. The tide goes in and it goes out, but it's basically level with waves and contours in the sea.
Yeah, I guess.
And any water you see in a lake, it's level.
Yeah, on a lake it would be pretty level.
Absolutely level, because that's how, when water comes to rest, that's it finds its level. If you spill a cup of water on the floor, it'll find its level. But it never conforms to the exterior of a shape, especially a ball. That's a physical impossibility, and that's what I mean. It goes completely against physics.
Yeah.
It's anti-physics. But for us to believe we've invented this secret magical force which you can't see, feel, touch or ever experience, but just believe us, it exists.
You can see evidence of it. You can see bits here and there. And
where can you see evidence of it?
Well, I mean, see evidence of what? What we're talking about here? Gravity.
Gravity.
The whole, falling to the ground thing. I think.
But did I not explain that with density?
It's not a full explanation. Because you're saying an object is more dense than another, so
than the
atmosphere around it, so it falls. But why? Why is that the case? And the reason that gravity would say is, I don't actually know, to be honest, but that is clearly the bit that explains why the denser object falls.
Well, gravity says that it's a magical. It's a force that is pulling the object to the ground. We can't evidence that force. But we have to believe that. But with density, it's a more natural explanation. Because if that's heavier than a bag of air, then it's going to fall faster than not.
But why is it going to fall faster? That's just like a common sense circular argument. You're saying this.
I think common sense is the answer, though.
Yeah.
Using your common sense and natural observations, way above a belief that you can't evidence. To me, it's far more.
Do you have that much mistrust in, I don't know, the history of science and of natural philosophy?
I'm a bit older than you. Yes, I do.
Since Galileo.
Yes, I do. Have you ever heard the quote, the winners write the history books?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'll tell you this, but you'll probably think I'm crazy, but I'll just throw it in. Like, dinosaurs, they never existed. Now, that's historical facts written in history, but they never existed. And it's, you know all these dinosaur bones in the museums?
Yeah.
They're not real bones. Go and ask the staff. They're plastic casts.
They would be.
And then you say, well, where are the real bones? Oh, they're locked away somewhere. Do you know where they are? No. And if you look back at anthropologists who've been done for fraud for trying to sell elephant bones to museums as dinosaur bones, it's all a fraud. I mean, that's why I say you can't rely totally that history is factual that you're hearing, because it's not even second hand. It's 100 second hands and written by the winners. So I think you have to be sceptical and you have to have doubt and you have to question. For me, that's the basis of intelligence.
But what you're saying what you're talking about isn't doubt, is it? It's a step further than that. Yeah, it's kind of you're going from doubt to saying it's all fake, it's all made up.
Yeah, but doubt is the initial step. Then you do research. Then you come across documentation and papers that weren't exposed to you before that counteract what you've been told. So now you're more informed because you have two sides of the argument. You don't just have one. So you're more informed and you come across evidence that dismisses what you've been told. So it's not like you go straight into the deep end. It's a process. It's easy. Process of investigation and finding out, exposing what is false. I think if you expose what is false, then the truth will be there. It's not good looking for truth. You have to expose and highlight what is false, and then you're more likely to be left with truth. But I would just put to you that like me, what you have is secondary information and a belief, and you've got a belief in the people, a trust in the people that are educating you on that they're telling the truth. But I go back to science: repeatable, demonstrable, measurable. If you can't do that, then I shouldn't be believing in it. Can I give you one video? Would you be interested in going to watch one video on the subject?
Yeah.
I guarantee this will get you really thinking far more than I have. It's called 200 Proofs. If you just put that on YouTube, but there's 200 proofs why the Earth is not a spinning ball. And it goes through every point systematically, scientifically, not too in-depthly, so that you get bored. But after number 10, I don't think you'll be thinking the same as you are now.
Okay.
And that's why I asked at the beginning, how open are you to listening to something which goes completely against what you think? Because there's a thing called cognitive dissonance. I don't know if you're aware of. Well, I'm sure you are, having done English literature.
What?
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it means there's two different meanings. Like you have two conflicting beliefs, but also it means that if you dismiss something which you believed all your life and everybody around you believes, and along comes this nut job in the park that says maybe that's not true, and you dismiss it without inquiry.
Yeah, you dismiss it because it's dissonant with your overall symbolic world.
Yeah. And I was looking at the definition of lunacy, and that's to dismiss without inquiry. So what do you think, what's your honest opinion of me for having approached you with this subject? Be as direct as you like, I'm completely open.
I mean, it's an interesting project that you're doing.
Do you think it's crazy?
Do I think it's crazy? I mean, I don't think it's crazy to ask people to like open their minds a bit, and to entertain the possibility that there's something else going on. People might be like, oh, that's a bit of a random thing to do, but I mean, that's kind of neither here nor there. If people say it's crazy, probably mostly because it's not something that they would feel comfortable doing. You know, that's what people would mean by crazy, less so than the things he's saying. Those things I don't know enough about to really make a sort of strong judgment about either way. But
has it made you feel like you will go and have a look at say that video, and you will?
Yeah, I'll go and have a look. Yeah.
But because I would say this is one of the biggest things on the internet right now.
Right.
And so many people look into it to disprove it and then come out believing that it's not a...
God, yeah, maybe that'll be me.
Yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word belief. I don't mean... I hate using that word. Knowing, convinced that it's not a ball because they've seen too much evidence. And,
yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you too.
And listen to something that maybe goes against your
yeah, it was
your
a
own.
pleasure.